Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the ZBA meeting. Tonight is Wednesday, March 26, 2025 at 7 p.m. and I would like to call the meeting to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do have a quorum. We have all members with the exception of Mr. Terrell. He's absent this evening. And we do have a public hearing tonight, so I'll start by opening up that public hearing. This is please take notice. Pursuant to Section 267 of the Town Law, Section 104 of the Public Officers Law, and the Town of Queens Zoning Ordinance, the Planning Board Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing at the Town Hall, 18 Russell Avenue, Ravena, New York, at 7 p.m. on March 26, 2025. Please note that this hearing may be adjourned from time to time as necessary. This public hearing is for a special use permit for Magic Forest Farm. It's an application for a special use permit for a temporary campground on the property owned by Joan Mahoney. The property is located at 134 Bucks Ranch Road, tax map number 130.2-20.1. Can I have a motion for that?
I will make that motion.
Open the public hearing. Second.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So the public hearing is open. I am going to go through the next order of business that is on our agenda. We have the minutes from our last meeting from March 10th, 2025. That was emailed to everyone, and there's a copy in your folder. Any questions on that?
I make a motion to accept them as they are.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to abstain, Chairman. I wasn't here that day.
Thank you. Motion carried. Okay. We don't have any new business on our agenda. We do have some old business. Before I start with the Queens Solar Farm, I just want to jump down to the subdivision for Mr. Nolan. That has been, the applicant withdrew that application, so that will no longer be on the agenda, and there's no business for that. Just wanted to put that out for public record. Jumping back up, we do have old business. An application for the site plan review for the property owned by Joyce Maxstad. That property is located at 1304 to 1322 State Route 143. And there's also an application in there for a special use permit. We sent that information to our town designated engineer. Before we get to that, I just want to make note, I spoke to Jason about changing, it says Queens PV. He's going to redo that so that it states that it's for a solar farm. So for Queens Solar in our next minute. But jumping back to Jenny from MJ gave us some recommendations and stuff. She couldn't be here tonight. She does have Cameron Caswell here to go over it. So if you want to go over that?
Sure. Standard.
Yeah, sorry.
That's my podium.
Yep.
So I will say the solar farm itself, it meets all zoning codes, regulations, and requirements on that. The biggest thing that I want to make note of is just that they get their access and utility easements from the town board because of their driveway is across both parcels, and same with one of their arrays. So I would say that is one of the biggest things. And also, second biggest thing is just regarding the SWIP, where although most solar farms can get away with erosion sediment controls, this solar farm, because of your steep slopes and your increasing your runoff, you might have to fall under putting together your post-construction stormwater management. There are ways around that, but I will say from the SWIP that we received, you will most likely need post-construction stormwater management. Based on that, I'd say most of the things in this comment letter were just observations. And I guess lot coverage, just because your lot coverage was based off the entire of the 2 parcels rather than each parcel itself. So that just needs to be recalculated. And that is all I have.
Do you have this on your laptop that we have here?
Yep.
Number? So what numbers were you talking about?
We will say number 14 for the lot coverage, number 12 for the easements. And probably, let's say 17 and 18 would regarding the SWIP.
What's your name?
Cameron Caswell?
Cameron, do you mind just reading what the recommendations were?
Yeah.
By MJ Engineering, please?
Sure thing. So we'll start with number 1. Just indicating that you guys are disturbing more than an acre, so you guys will need a SWIP. We understand that we got one. It might need to be updated. There for number 2, wetland delineation did state that there was wetlands on site, but your secret form stated that there was no wetlands delineated. Also, this wetland delineation may need to be redone because it's probably outdated due to the DEC's new regulations. Down to number 3, just noting that this is a permitted use with a special use permit within this district. Number 4, your solar energy systems are permitted within the town based off of their solar energy law. Number 5, I guess number 5 through number 11 is just stating that all the documents that were provided, I guess, are up to what we needed to receive for the submission. And then number 12 is talking about the gravel access road and your solar array going across 2 different parcels, and you will need access and utility easements. Number 13, just this is more for emergency access for fire, making sure that emergency access vehicles can go all the way around the arrays and in between. Number 14, that the lot coverage should be both calculated per lot. 15, this same with the fire code, we just want truck turning movements to prove that the access drive is in accordance with the fire regulations. Number 16, just to make sure that they receive the authorization letter to disturb greater than 5 acres before they disturb greater than 5 acres. And 17 and 18 are talking about the SWIP and you being on steep slopes, and post-construction stormwater management areas will likely be needed.
Thank you. Anyone on the board have specific questions?
Yeah, this has some history to it, this application. Are you here from Maxted?
I am.
Yeah, this had come before the board 3 years ago, 5 years ago?
It was a different developer.
Longer than that.
I think you told me?
10 years ago?
Yes.
I think the biggest issue is that with that was the Albany County water line
Right.
appropriation.
Yep.
We're working to address that
Yeah.
right now, and we've been in discussions and things are looking good. So I don't know exactly what happened with that previous development.
They couldn't get approval from the city of Albany to cross the water line.
Yeah.
Because we went up and did a site that was 10 years ago. Ernie was alive, Peter Ferranda was there.
Mike Beechler?
We accepted the application, we approved the project, and then they never did it. Yeah.
Yeah,
This
so
is a different,
Got
The
approved.
project never got approved. There was no motion sheet
no?
because
It was close to being approved,
yeah, I thought it was
because they had to get the easement from the water board for the board to
pending the easement from the water board.
correct.
So who's the developer this time?
RIC Energy. So I've been talking to Amy Walsh, who's the watershed manager, and she gave me a kind of a timeline of what we need to do. We had an initial meeting, and then we'll have a follow-up kind of design meeting once those board of directors review everything. But essentially, she was just kind of indicating it would be the line's 7 feet deep, so we're not expecting any impact anyway, but we would install a temporary air bridge during construction to ensure that the line is not impacted. So,
You should have done it 10 years ago, it would have been easier for you.
other developers
You got quite a bit of work involved here.
should be through that. I think we're through the bulk of what they asked for, so I think a month or two we can get approval.
How many watt solar farm is it?
It is 1.4 megawatts AC.
That's all the questions I have.
Anyone else? So, going through the list of stuff that was on here and speaking with council today, there were a couple of things that I just wanted to bring to the board. We have done one of these solar farms, and in the paperwork that we have, I believe there's a request for a bond. The last one that we did cash for protection of the town. So,
Well, it's not a bond, it's cash up front.
no, but in their paperwork, they're requesting it for a bond, and we are going to request that we get the cash.
For the decommissioning?
Yes, for the decommissioning, that it's cash, no bond. And those details can be worked out with our attorney and the engineer.
Okay.
So that's just one thing, as long as the board is also in agreement with that. That's just following suit from the last one that we did. And there's two separate parcels, correct?
Yes.
And we spoke about that last time. There was no plan on merging them, or?
No plan. I was mentioning before that usually it specifies in the solar law that you can't have it on multiple parcels. In this case, I mean, we don't necessarily see the need to, because in terms of taxing and property values, they treat the solar energy system as completely separate from the residential parcel, so that, you know, landowners are not impacted whatsoever, and it kind of keeps things separate. So I don't know if there's from our perspective, a need to merge them. And I just want to clarify quickly, I said 1.2, it's 1.5 megawatts AC.
That's what it's saying. Thank you. Do you mind either sitting up front, coming up, sorry. There is also mention, there's a private cemetery on this property.
Yeah.
Do you have any more details on that?
We had just ensured that our design allows for the residents to access it without, you know, being fenced off or anything. That was one of their key requirements, so we made sure that the design accommodates that. And part of the reason we had to use 2 parcels instead of 1 is just because we lost some of that space protecting the cemetery, so we moved it to that small portion on the field just to the north, where we're crossing that transmission pipeline. So that allowed us to keep the same capacity while making sure that they, you know, were accommodating their requests with the cemetery.
So, Madam Chairwoman, where exactly is the cemetery? Is it to the north of the transmission line?
Right in the backyard, so
Back of the house,
yeah.
Mr. Bill.
Oh, so just off 143? It's down in here. Oh, that one.
Yeah.
And so what's the intended, if you,
Absolutely,
if I-
absolutely.
so how do you set up the access and to whom?
For the cemetery,
Yeah.
It's the
we're
original.
just ensuring that, you know, they can walk in the house through the backyard and get to the cemetery. So we're not gonna have
Bill, what section are you looking at that in this Bible over here?
The one I'm looking at is C101 in tab C, and it may not be truly the best one, but I'm looking at the existing conditions plan.
Yeah, actually, I need a big map for this one.
Not yet.
I'll share with you. Then you can share. And they don't anymore?
Yeah, they still do have it.
So wait
I
a
don't know
minute,
who doesn't.
because at the last meeting, it was said that it's not being used for accounting.
It could not be, I don't know.
Yeah, this is
Rob
one.
before the last time I.
Who's tree line?
Oh, yeah, so you cut around, okay, all right, that makes sense.
So there's the house. It's not even on this.
Okay, yeah, I got it, thanks.
So
So on this big map, do you know where it is? Because it's not, on this particular map, it's not noted. Here's the house,
Cut this in.
frame house.
I believe it's right here. You can see we kind of close this off. And then you have.
So that's it.
Topsoil stockpile area.
Oh,
There's
okay.
Trees and brush.
surrounding that cemetery.
So your fence, this would be your fence line going around it.
Yes.
So,
And there's where the lost in the town highway.
Yeah, oh no, this, yeah, I drive past it. I know where this is.
okay.
There's
What?
no reason.
I was on the board when we did the last one.
That doesn't matter.
No,
I
I'm just
mean,
saying. there's no-
people have to rest.
Years ago.
They may have some topsoil numbers or something, but it's
The cemetery, I was trying to figure that out. Find those trees.
Okay. I'm just going through notes of the.
They always decorate this house very nice for Halloween.
No, I'm not gonna lie, I did not sit here and read this cover to cover. Is there a plan? Is it written up in here as far as the protection for that cemetery, for the homeowners and all of that?
It is depicted on the civil plan, yeah. We show it, and you can tell that the fence kind of loops around that. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the trees are a way to identify that cemetery.
is this a private family cemetery?
To my understanding, talking to the landowner, yes. She said it goes back maybe like 150 years.
Who is
So
it?
it could be other.
Health, Bosworth's sister. Bosworth's family, there's just no relatives who own the house now.
So the Maxtads own it now, so no relation to anyone that's in there.
No, Bosworth owns it.
So who would have access from the board's perspective? Who's going back there to look at these stones? Is it the public?
Probably nobody.
What's the access? There really isn't any access. The other aspect I think is thought about a little bit. We can maybe address a little bit more, but for the board's consideration, typically when we deal with cemeteries, we're not usually dealing with our generic mitigation, but it's usually avoidance. And generally we like to know not necessarily who's buried, but we like to know where the burials are to get some idea of what you're truly dealing with for the avoidance purposes. And I think probably Jason, and from MJ's perspective, avoidance means usually a perimeter of no disturbance. I don't know what that typically is, but the board may want to think some of those things through. Inadvertence is largely problematic, and those that have an intent beyond mere inadvertence can have more severe consequences under New York state law. So avoidance is clearly the way to go as opposed to mitigation. And as I say, I think from the board's perspective, we can offer maybe some thoughts about that as the board gets a little
What
bit.
size would it be, 100?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if there's a prescribed avoidance area, but depending upon where the burials are.
Because it doesn't necessarily mean it's underneath the tombstone.
Exactly. And it doesn't necessarily mean that there's a tombstone.
Right.
And we did provide a buffer, and it's a very small area, maybe like 5 or 6 tombstones from my site visit that I did, and then also surrounded by trees.
Are those tombstones depicted on a plan sheet?
I don't know if it's directly, because it's technically outside of our limit of disturbance. It's really kind of the landowner's backyard in some sense, but you can tell because our fence kind of loops around that and avoids it. And then it identifies the trees in the circle, so that's kind of a way to know what it is.
On this plan sheet 301, the cemetery is depicted as trees and bush. There's no indication that it's a cemetery.
No, and even on the large one also, when we just open this up, it's not on there. There, you have a large stockpile of soil and then trees and bush, but it's not on this either.
Well, it's outside of our project area, so I mean, it's the same thing as, I guess, depicting a pool in someone's backyard in some sense, I don't know.
Yeah, but you got the pool on here, but not the cemetery.
And you have the house on here.
Yeah, and I think,
Oh, really? I was
Right,
just saying.
a cemetery,
Yeah, absolutely.
but from the board's perspective, I think what we're really saying is,
Well, we can just change that too.
Okay.
If you prefer.
if we're gonna drive
Just so it
posts
looks like right
for that fence,
agreed.
we really don't know how far the driving those posts is gonna be from the burial.
Well, and there's something to be said for old rural cemeteries. You know, you don't wanna go disturbing it and,
It's also a crime.
you know,
So what do you do, ping them? Ping the ground?
Well, I mean,
You could ping the ground.
depending upon what MJ chooses to do, they're gonna probably think it through in terms of providing some guidance with respect to avoidance. But yes, that's typically,
Yeah.
Mr. Sinque, that's exactly what's done.
Yeah.
There's an underground study, it's relatively easy to do. It's done with some frequency.
so Cameron, if you can just take note on that and look into that further and give us more guidance and feedback on that.
I just wanted a little clarifying question. I don't really see it on here or in the visual depiction. Is there any actual buffer between this road you're putting in there and that sort of cemetery area? The only reason, okay, can you sort of explain what that is?
I'd have to ask our civil engineers what the exact buffers they provided, so
I don't mean a space thing. I mean like a physical impediment for someone going in there. The reason I ask is only because if you think about this practically, we'll say for the sake of argument, a couple panels get knocked out or whatever. I don't want, a team goes down there and I don't want them to start queuing up trucks in here, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you could sort of clarify what would prevent that, that would be helpful to me.
Okay. I can confirm that.
Thanks.
I mean, they definitely took it into account, but it'd be good if I got specifics. So I'll get back.
Thank you, thank you.
Anyone else in reference to the cemetery? Okay, what else on this board? Another big thing that's on the list, it came up at the last meeting and it came up tonight, is I personally think we need more as far as Albany County on that water line. So that's still standing on there.
Amy had said she's happy to let the board know about our progress and speak with you directly. I guess what exactly you would satisfy?
I think that's a great idea, and if she wants to attend either the next meeting or put something in writing and send it, there's opportunities for that. But not to be rude, but you telling us, Amy said that.
No, I understand, but it's just, Jason and I had spoken for a while, and I understand that this was kind of the biggest concern of the last developers permitting process, so I have been, trying to make this front and center in getting them addressed, so, I'll talk to her about it and.
Okay. I am just jumping down my list here, and I just want to clarify from the last meeting, we took a vote to act as lead agency for intention, but we have not done any kind of coordinated review. We haven't listed this as any kind of action. So I just want to re-clarify that. That was my next point. Now here's another big one that I think is new to all of us. And you have the form from DEC for the wetlands. But DEC put new regulations in effect beginning January 1st. Your DEC delineation form that you have is from September 2023. So we are definitely gonna need a new.
So I can speak on that actually. I spoke with our environmental permitting manager today and she had let me know, because I looked at the review, that we have submitted a parcel jurisdictional determination request to the DEC, to Albany's office. So that's what's kind of required in these situations. So we're taking care of that.
When did you do that?
I have to ask her when the exact time was, but I think maybe a couple months ago at least.
Okay, so you should be getting something from them to give to us in reference to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as soon as we have it all, I'll share
Okay.
it with you.
Yeah, so I definitely think the wetlands thing has to be clarified.
And just a, I guess, a quick note on that, they shared with us the public information associated with the updated wetlands, and we confirmed that there's no changes to this parcel. We've seen in other areas in New York State that has impacted us, but this case looks pretty good. So.
Well, we'll find out when DEC gets that back to us. Anyone have anything else?
Clarify if I may for the board on Cameron's item 12, the gravel access road across two different parcels, and then it states access and utility easements must be granted by the town board. Is everybody clear on where those easements are proposed to exist? Because it fits with, we'll have to have the applicant then pin down the turning movements for the fire department as well. And I just want everybody to focus on that, because I know there have been some questions of recent with not so much life, but life safety related issues with the fires and other things. And it's probably worth just taking a minute for everybody to be clear on exactly what is proposed.
Can you show and point out where, on this map, those two properties would go in and where we need the easement for?
So you're just asking where the stuff is?
Well, there's, right, they're gonna have to cross, so you're gonna need an easement for
This is the
that.
gas line, yeah. And I've been talking with Enterprise They had asked that we finalize the agreement 6 months before anticipated construction. So my thought was maybe wait a little bit through this permitting process and then finalize it, but they have all our information and
So they're working on it on their end.
we've made sure that our underground electric line, or I guess in this case it's overhead. So we had looked at their regulations, made sure that we're complying with it, and I've been talking to them through our design and making sure that they agree with what we're doing and that we comply with it. So
But Bill, we would have to have something in writing.
Yeah, I mean, in order for their plan to work, it's gonna have to secure those rights. I mean, usually you see some type of conceptual agreement, and then it may ultimately be a condition or a contingency relative to the approval. I think fundamentally, from the board's perspective, you also want to know exactly who are the grantors of the two easements. Is the first one,
The one is a gas company, you said.
yes, Enterprise product.
is it Texas Eastern Transmission Corporation?
That's the name of the pipeline, but I think they bought that company and now it's Enterprise Products.
So you're gonna want to pin that down with exactly where that stands with Enterprise.
And I'm happy to share our current correspondence with them. And I guess if you request additional information, I can talk to them about that. Which is kind of tricky, trying to time the official agreement 6 months prior to construction, so.
And the other grantor is whom? That's what I thought, yeah. So just for clarity, I mean, the review letter talks about easements granted by the town board, but I think that they're gonna be, the city of Albany's Albany Water Board, and then gas company. I think those are the.
And that would be an appropriation agreement.
So at some point, and again, just for the board to be thinking ahead, in order for this to work, you're gonna wanna have an assurance that those rights will be secured, otherwise, and they know too, the project doesn't work.
What was your name?
Jeremy Kaufman.
Jeremy? Jeremy, usually there's a group of investors behind it all. You're the developer, and then somebody maintains it. You maintain it also?
Our company?
Yeah.
We are heading towards being a full vertically integrated IPP. As of right now, we aren't quite sure whether, we're gonna sell it to another developer backed by a lot of capital generally, or owners. So we aren't at that stage, and we won't really have kind of those final details, I guess, until closer to the building permit, when we actually find, a construction company and that kind of thing.
And then somebody else will do the maintenance on it.
Yeah, and a local, we'll probably have like a bidding process and hire locally. Is our focus.
Have you built any of these anywhere else that we know about?
Throughout the state, but nothing super close to here.
Well, what's the non-so-super close?
Hanover is one that was recently built. That's, I guess, Western New York. Pomfret, town of Pomfret. Skinny Atlas, New York, just north of the Finger Lakes. Yeah.
Nice.
Anyone else have anything else? So, I know I'm happy and content asking you questions, but I am very curious and interested to see what MJ has to say as far as that goes. And so would you recommend that they reword or rewrite as far as for that whole cash stuff?
I think we can work that out between MJ and our office. We can get your decommissioning contract. It should be fun.
I don't know how anyone else feels on the board. I mean, I would like to hear more from Albany County.
Sure. I guess, what is the preference with that?
Yeah, City of Albany for the water, sorry, thank
Would
you.
you want a mailed letter? Would she email you? Or I could ask her about attending a board meeting as well, but.
Yeah, I mean, any correspondence that you get, if it goes to Jason, Jason shares it all with us.
Okay.
So he would be your best point of contact as far as what you get from the City of Albany for the, for those two, even with the gas line. Those are big things, because if you don't get that, I don't think this is happening.
And we don't have a project anyway, so.
Right, so, why waste your time, our time, and continue when we haven't heard from them, and that's a pretty important piece.
Yeah, I understand.
So, that's where we stand on that, and MJ can get back to us, and if you hear back from those, especially the City of Albany, the gas line,
Absolutely.
at our next meeting, we can discuss it further. And are you guys comfortable with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Sounds good.
yeah, thank you.
Just one more clarification, I guess. So, I saw in this review that it should be considered a type 1 action. At this point, would it be possible to circulate those notices in the 239M review while we address these comments?
I'm not comfortable with doing that right now. I really would like to hear back from the City of Albany, because like I said, if that stuff doesn't come through, there's no project. So.
Yeah, I'm not asking you to make an environmental determination necessarily, but just to get that started, because that's a 30-day time frame, and
When do you want to start this construction?
it kind of, I guess, varies on this permitting process. So we'd look to have everything set up maybe three months after that, and then construction could start, 3 to 6 months after that. So it's a little hard to tell exactly. But
2025 or 2026?
considering, I think summer 2025 is definitely a possibility. With winter and hunting season, I realistically probably spring 26 would be a conservative estimate.
So we don't need to start the CEQA's process right away then?
Well, there's a lot of things that have to fall into place to get ready for construction, but
I think the chairman's right. You better get your ducks in a row with the city of Albany before we go much further.
I can share the correspondence, but I feel like I've done a lot of, I know you don't necessarily trust my word, but I can share that correspondence, and Amy can reach out to you and let you know about the progress we made. I'm very confident about that.
Then I highly recommend that. I highly recommend you get that correspondence to Jason from Amy. Get some kind of letter. Like I said, at the next meeting, she is welcome to come here and speak on behalf of it. But there's history with this particular property, that this board has history. There's members that are on this board that were a part of that, and it didn't happen because of that.
Right.
So, and I think there's other pieces that you may not be aware of as far as us. Once we start putting things in motion, there's timeframes, and we have to follow those. So I'm comfortable sitting here saying, I don't want to put us under any pressure and under any time until this is a clear project. And my own input is, it's not very clear yet. So, no, I'm not comfortable deeming it yet. I don't know how anyone else feels, but thank you, Mr. Nolan, for speaking on that behalf also. Anyone else?
I would just suggest for board members, you may want to take a look at sheet C102. Camera can tell us what the scale, I think, represents. But it will help you in terms of understanding that sheet is the site prep and erosion sediment control plan. And Cameron, if you can tell us approximately how far from the cemetery what is that? It's a concrete washout, and then all the waste receptacles. How many lineal feet are those?
I wish I could tell you that right now. I don't have that on this computer
You
for
want-
whatever reason.
What's the scale on your plan? What's 1 inch?
I honestly don't know.
I'll tell you on the bottom of this one.
C102. Oh, it's right there. Bigger. So, Bill, on this bigger map is C102 blown up. I don't know if you want to.
I can see it. I mean, it's just
It's
for the
small.
board to understand what's really happening relative to that area that
It's not far.
you were basically told nothing would occur. If you look to the southerly portion of that area, you'll see there's a temporary concrete washout.
It's this
There's a temporary waste receptacle,
right here. Temporary construction.
and then there's a temporary recyclable materials receptacle. And then you'll see there's another recyclable material closer
There next to it.
to the area.
And the general construction material laydown.
And then you'll have a temporary construction laydown generally in that area. And then you also have a series of 3 portable toilets in that area. Just, no, they represented it here, but you don't have any burial locations, so it's
Got it.
generally here.
Okay.
There's-
Yeah.
So it's a generic scale.
Yeah. That doesn't actually tell us anything.
That's like
So you can't really tell
Yeah, so.
for board purposes how many lineal feet it is from the toilets to the burial areas. And some of that, as Mr. Cronin has pointed out, the temporary construction laydown area. So you may want to get a little bit more focused on that with some detail.
Well, Al and Rob, I know you guys are very, well, I shouldn't say very, but maybe familiar with it. I mean, my other recommendation also would be for this board to go out and lay eyes on this also. So it makes more sense. That would just be another step at some point.
You could do a site visit.
Yeah, yeah. So, thank you.
As you think about your site visit too, you may want to have some areas marked, so you have an understanding of what you're looking at in perspective.
Well, and I think too, so much thought has come up from tonight's meeting. A lot of questions and a lot of good things. I think it's in the best interest for all of us. Go over these maps more thorough, review this more thorough. This was just presented to us at our last meeting, so on the board's end, we don't want to jump into something and do something. We want it to be done right. So definitely take our time in reviewing this more. That's
I understand that. And for the site visit, I guess when you have an idea of when you want to go out there, I think it could be helpful if I bring one of our civil engineers and maybe they can, specify exactly where things are going to be. And I'll also talk to them about everything we discussed.
I think that would be helpful, and I think it would probably be helpful if they come to a meeting also.
Yeah. I realize it.
But yeah, I think for tonight, I'm happy with the information we received, and MJ will get us more information, and you have some more work to do too.
Yeah.
Good?
Just one quick question for MJ. So you're going to respond to your initial review letter. I take it there may be some additional updates, so maybe we can get going. I'll discuss the cemetery with the civil engineer. But we can expect, I guess, a month.
Yeah, we'll probably do a rev for sure, and I will talk with Jenny and she'll get it sooner rather than later.
Okay, sounds good.
And Cameron, if you don't mind talking to Jenny also, or whoever else is on this project, but now they have more time also to put more eyes on this too.
Right. Yep.
Thank you. Okay. Anything else for us, or you're good?
No.
Anyone else on the board, anything else for them?
Good.
Okay. Thank you. So I'm gonna jump into, we already went over the next item from old business. Now we're on the lot line adjustment. Okay, now I need to get my ducks in a row over here. So we had, is anyone here from that, for that, the lot line adjustment? Okay. So we had a lot line adjustment. This was from P&M Brick LLC, Ravena Queen's Yacht Club Incorporation. It's an application for a lot line adjustment on properties owned by P&M Brick LLC and Ravena Queen's Yacht Club Incorporation. That property is located at 2170 River Road, tax map number 156.-4-8.1 and number 168.-2-4. And just to bring everyone back up to review on that, we have already acted as lead agency. It was a type 2. We do not need a public hearing for that because it is a lot line adjustment. We did send it to county and we received back, it says, this board has found that the proposed action will have no impact upon the jurisdictional determinant referring to this case, nor will it have significant county-wide or intermunicipal impact. So that was the recommendation from county. So I think all the ducks are in a row for that, and they're clear and good to go if we all agree.
Yeah.
So I guess I can make a motion to approve that lot line adjustment for the properties owned by P&M Brick LLC and Ravena Queen's Yacht Club Incorporation. The property is located at 2170 River Road, tax map number 156.-4-8.1 and number 168.-2-4.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And Jason, you have that sheet for the end of the meeting?
Yes, I do,
Okay, perfect.
but they're gonna have to bring in their final maps for
Right, because I have to
their
sign.
stamp and
Yeah.
sign.
Just inform them that we passed it, that we approved it. And we can take that off the list. And now that brings us back to, we have a public hearing tonight and it's been open. So I don't know if we have anyone here for that.
I'm here.
So do you want to come up and tell a little bit more about the project?
Sure, I can.
And then if anyone has anything to ask or share.
I'm here to apply for a temporary campground on 3 separate occasions.
You are who again?
My name is Jason Wall. I'm partners with Joan Mahoney with property. I'm here to apply for a temporary campground on 3 separate occasions. The first one is the end of May, which has an estimated max attendance of 300 people. And the second one will be a 1 day on September 6th with a max of 150 people. And the third one will be the second weekend in September, which I believe is the 11th, 12th, and 13th. And that will have a max attendance of 500 tickets.
How many?
500?
Keep going up.
Yeah, that was, one was canceled. And
Grand finale.
Some other people to try to get something else going on. Yeah, we talked to the fire department and our roads are fine. All everything will be followed. Ordinance is the main thing I know with the neighbors, and I think we did a good job with the rest of that. And sound was shut off. If there's any music on Sunday, that'll be on before 8. There's only 1 day. Playing it till Sunday.
What was your date in May?
The May was, I believe 28th, 29th, 30th. The last weekend.
And what was the, how many people there?
300, max of 300. That doesn't mean that.
300?
Yes.
Last weekend in May is 30, 31, and June 1st.
So yes, I have in here May 29th. That would be May 29th, May 30th, and then June 1st. Okay, so 29, 30, and 1.
We have back-to-back weekends.
And then you said there was another one in September.
September 6th, Saturday, 1 night.
Okay, so in this that we have, you have August 15th to 17th, and that is
That's
not
changed, and I sent like a month,
the updated.
a couple weeks ago.
Okay,
September 6th, 150 people. And then the 12th through the 14th, that's the 500 people max, the Metal Arc Fest.
Yeah, the Lark Fest, they're, this will be their 4th year. And they partnered with another farm down in Stone Ridge for the last 3 years, and they had a very successful event. They just it just wasn't what they were looking for down there, so they were hoping to partner with me. They're all their even the workers are have crowd control certificates. There'll be a registered nurse on site with a medical tent.
so this Metal Arc Fest, this has not been one of your participants before?
No, it has not. It has been at Stone Ridge at a farm.
And Jason, the last time you were here, I don't think you exceeded 300, correct?
Correct.
And now we're going up to 500.
Correct. I'm asking for that.
Yep, nope, I get that.
I can come down if needed, or I'm open to more scrutiny, if that's the case. But that's what I'm asking for.
Madam Chairwoman, just before we leave the dates, so is it the case then that the January 13, 2025 email from the applicant, that is to be modified based on the dates we're talking about today, because September 11 is not on this one. This is September 12, 13, and 14, and I just want to make sure your dates are the right dates, because what you said tonight was 11, 12, and 13. You want to see your prior email? I got it.
Yeah, I can,
I just want to make sure you get the right dates, that's all.
okay. I'm looking at it right now.
'Cause the 11th is a Thursday.
So would you be starting on Thursday or Friday?
It would be, I believe it's starting on Thursday, just to alleviate traffic concerns.
So it would be the
So I
11th,
wouldn't
12th,
use
13th,
it
14th?
for any entertainment on Thursday. It's just they allow
Camping.
camping in order to alleviate traffic.
Set up and whatnot for
So
Friday.
not everyone's arriving on Friday, so it's spread out to help with traffic concerns.
And it ends on Sunday, the 14th.
Yes,
No rollover into Monday.
no rollover into Monday.
So there's only three parties that you're having there.
Yep.
29th, 30th, and June 1st? What's the first one?
May 29th, 30, June 1st. Now that also, going back to that one, that May 29, 30, that is not Memorial Day weekend.
No, it's the weekend after Memorial Weekend.
So 29, 30, actually it would be 29, 30,
31.
31, and the 1st.
Okay.
So you're going, is it a similar setup? They come in on Thursday, or is there activities on Thursday?
No. It's just,
29, 30, 31, and June 1. Okay.
September 6th,
September 6th is a Saturday, just one day.
just one day?
It's the Magic Forest Fest.
So it's one day event, but you are gonna have campers there.
Yeah, it's one day with the camping, correct.
Okay. Just looking. So that's important though, because you're asking for a special use permit for a temporary campground. So
Correct.
that campground is going to be then that Friday, Saturday, Sunday of that
Correct.
weekend, September.
Yes.
So that would be the 5th, 6th, and 7th then.
No, it just, it's just the 6th and the night.
I understand that, but you're gonna have campers there Friday night.
Not to exceed, what I already have in my campground, so, with the 4 campsites, it won't exceed the people at the 4
So
campsites.
it's gonna be like normal camping.
Right, if nothing that, it's not,
Not part of the event.
I'm not asking for a special use permit for that, I'm just for the one day.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
The active stage hours were updated to include Sunday from 11 to 8.
Yes.
So is it the Metal Art Festival, is the day that you're thinking you're be music till 8 p.m. on Sunday?
Yes.
So then, but there will be no overnight camping that night beyond what is currently permitted?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Within Metal Arc had previously done this event, they have a nurse, they have trained security guards, so it sounds like they have a procedure manual, policy, playbook, whatever the case may be.
Correct.
You have copies of that information that you could.
Yes, I'm sure that they do.
Where was the last festival?
It was at Stone Ridge, New York. I can't remember the name of the farm. But on the link that I sent you guys,
Okay, find it on there.
there would be a flyer that shows the farm that it was at. They support local businesses in Hudson Valley and local nonprofits as well that have to do with agriculture.
Stone Ridge Orchard.
Stone Ridge is beautiful. Now, Mike had just mentioned, now I apologize, this copy that I have, I don't know why, I have another copy, the original. This is the original, I don't have the updated. So the active stage hours you have from 11 to 8. Is there a difference with the active stage hours and then the main stage hours?
No.
Okay. The old one that I have, the main stage hours are listed as 11 to 11.
That would be on Friday and Saturday, not Sunday. The 8 o'clock was the Sunday.
Okay, so 11 to 8 would be Sunday. So there is a difference then between the active stage hours being on Sunday 11 to 8 and the main stage hours 11 to 11 is going to be Friday, Saturday.
Correct.
Okay.
The music schedule from the January email said 1 p.m. to 11 p.m. Just for the board's purposes of that distinction.
You've hired a band, correct? Jay?
Yes.
And that's the hours that the band is gonna play?
There's I think, there's many of them. I know there's more than 10.
More than one band?
Yeah.
The Metal Arc Festival last year probably had, this was like 20 bands, based on the poster.
Yeah. They usually play for an hour or so.
Yeah.
Hour and a half.
And you said they performed at Stone Ridge for 3 years?
Yes.
Do you have a permanent stage?
Say that?
Do you have a permanent stage?
I do, yes. And they bring a second one in for Meadow Larks, so there's not a lot of between them, so the bands don't have to swap all their gear off and stuff. So.
Sounds like fun. I went to a festival where they took an old army truck and used that as a stage.
Yeah.
Parked it, so worked out too.
Does anyone have any other questions for Jason? The only thing I want to mention for public record is we did send this to county, and we did hear back. Their recommendation was that the review by Albany County Department of Health for temporary arrangements for water supply, wastewater discharge, and other required permits.
Okay, and they said the same thing the last time, and then I got a letter back from them saying that they do not regulate anything under 5,000 people.
Correct. This is their recommendation that was sent to us, so, okay.
Do I have to get another letter from the health department saying that, or can you go with the old letter?
Oh, no, we'll need something new for this, because this is separate. That's in that file. This is a separate file, so we will need that from them.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Anything else? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Now, the public?
Yes.
Next member, so please.
I have a couple.
The only thing, I just want to give you my spiel. I need you to state your name, your address, and there's 2 of you, so usually there's a 3-minute warning, so please try to keep it quick. Within that 3 minutes, give or take.
Keep it brief. Okay. Kevin Hunter, 262 Hilton Hill Road. Been there for like forever. Last time they had it was in 2022, and yes, that we had a problem with the noise. Band. If I remember correctly, the shut off for music was 10 o'clock last time. And the first time they did it, it ran most of the night. But last time was supposed to be 10 o'clock. I see here that we have an 11 o'clock one. Most campgrounds, especially state-run campground, quiet at 10. So I will recommend that. They do have a permanent stage. It's on Lip Echoes the Valley. So there is a concern about noise. All right. I know they put a road in. Actually, the road doesn't look too bad.
The town uses it
Yeah.
even going.
It's
It's
all jail.
with it. Yeah.
Give it about 10 years, be all clay. But for the most part, I don't have a problem except for traffic and the noise. All right? And I'll be back next one if I find anything else.
Thank you so much.
Evening board. And good evening, Jason and Richard and Connor.
Name, where you live?
My first name is Aspen, and last name is Hjort. I'm an adjacent property owner to the farm.
Can you spell that for me? I'm sorry.
First name is Aspen, E-S-B-E-N. Last name is Hjort, H-J-O-R-T. And my address is 382 Copeland Hill Road. I mean, I recognize a lot of your faces from last time we were here, and there was much more packed here last time because it was we who live in that neighborhood all experienced 2021 when there was 5 parties, unannounced parties on that up there in the campsite that summer, and those parties started from Thursday and continued until all through the nights, and then they continued the next morning, day after day after day. Yeah, so so back then in 2021, and we saw here at the meeting, there was like probably like there was people all the way up to Fair Bush and Lawson Lake who could hear the music. That's how, when he refers to the valley, that's literally a valley. When you're standing and looking, you can see it's going all the way up to Albany City, and the sound would travel as a tunnel throughout that valley. Is Fairbush, I mean, we had people here last time in 2022 from Fairbush who complained about the sound, or from Larsen Lake, which is over on a mountain. That's also how the sound travels. So it's reasonable to believe that there's several thousands of people, many hundreds of families that, in the first year when it was playing out in 2021, there was 5 concerts from Thursday to Saturday. It's unreasonable that many citizens and residents who pay tax, who want to enjoy the weekends, cannot get to enjoy the peaceful and quiet. We all work. We want to invite friends, family over, not sit in that rock music. Some people like it, other people may not. I mean, I don't have it. It's not my opinion. I don't want to impose my opinion about the music, but it's more like the not having the ability to make a choice. It's like we should all be able to quietly enjoy it. And I will go into saying like what you kind of maybe also referred to, that had, we know last time the local sound ordinance was set to cut off at 10 p.m. It did not happen, and most recently, I believe the date was
3 minutes.
Thank you.
On June the 30th in 2024. There was also, I don't know what kind of event there was up there, but that's just last year, where the sound ordinance, the local sound ordinance was not kept. So it seems like it was not kept in 21, it was not kept in 22, it was not kept last year. It seems like this, the people up in the Magic Forest Farm are not able to keep to the local sound ordinance. And that's an important issue when you talk about 1,000 or 2,000 people who was like, this can't, we can't leave. We live there. This is our weekend we're talking about in the summer. We're not talking about winter where we're all inside the houses. I couldn't care less because we can just close the windows. We want to sit out in the garden. We want to be out in the garden and enjoy, our weekend. It's not possible. Then I want to talk a little bit about.
If you can just wrap it up because your 3 minutes was up, but
Yes.
you can finish on your statement.
There's two main things. Like one thing is like what I just talked about. The other thing is right now there's 12 wildfires in action in New York State. Last year we saw more wildfires than in prior years, and we saw also from Canada. But right now there's 12 active wildfires in New York State. I don't know like what kind of insurance that's being provided. I think it's only reasonable. On the last page I gave to your legal counsel, I have some demands to what kind of insurance I will recommend. But I think the board of the zoning board are stepping into a territory where if you allow this permit, you put yourself in liability because you give Magic Forest Farm here. If there's a fire, it's reasonable to think that some of the parties who are making these parties are long gone. We saw last time when we were in 22 when there's application, these people come in, they make the events, but if there's a fire, they're not going to show up here in the following month or like when there's a legal case about damages to adjacent properties. They're going to be long gone. We don't know why they moved for stone wall, like where they had the 3 years, but maybe the town kicked them out. That's what we heard in 22. They said like why they were not playing in one location was because the local didn't want them. What happened if there's a fire? Having this many people concentrated on this little lot of having, fun and concerts. I mean, it sounds nice. What happened if there's a wildfire?
And that's a valid question, and you have a good concern. Your time is
the fire department has said good for it, but that's what I'm talking about is the aftermath, the legal aftermath. Like the board putting itself in liability was if you approve this, you for sure will be included in a legal case.
I thank you for bringing your concerns. You typed this up and drafted this?
I drafted that, and it's longer than 3 minutes, so that's why
No, that's fair enough, and that's fine. Can you email this to to Jason? Can you email this to him so he can share this with all board members? Because you do have some questions at the end, and I thank you for coming and speaking and taking the time and doing this. So if you email this to him, he will email this to us.
I'll get this email at a later time. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, thank you. And thank you, Mr. Hunter, also for speaking.
Do I have a chance to respond?
Sure.
First of all, I was never violated the sound ordinance, which is 11 o'clock, and that's what we were allowed to go to. Yes, I even ended it 2 hours early last year because of the weather. So we stopped playing at 8 because there was another lightning storm, and we didn't want to put the fans or the guests in jeopardy. For wildfires, I have insurance that I pay over $13,000 a year for. Which is one of the reasons why it costs so much is because of fire dangers in the campground. I pay probably twice as much as insurance then just because of that reason. And there's also secondary insurance that is vet insurance that for these weekends that we have that's required. There's not only my liability insurance, there's some vet insurance in place. And there was no violation of sound ordinance, and no reports. Jason got no reports. The police got no reports. Didn't violate any sound.
Thank you. So you both brought up very good points as far as the insurance. Do we have copies of the insurance? Was your insurance given to Jason? Proof of insurance? I know last time we asked for it.
Last time that they got approved, I would have to look for that file.
Last time we asked for it, we wanted the proof of insurance. And I think you said you had a writer or something for the specific events.
Yes.
I think we would just want a copy of that.
For the specific event insurance, not necessarily the whole property insurance too, or all of it?
I would say definitely liability insurance, and it wouldn't hurt. I mean, the more you can provide, the better, for sure. That would be number one. So whatever you can give to Jason as far as the insurance and what it covers, that definitely is a plus. Just let me see what I've written down. So there is something interesting that came up since, and I think just with everything, once you do this one time and then you do it a second time, you get smarter and past practice and precedent sometimes. There is, in speaking with counsel, there is a $1 million liability policy which would cover the town, the landowner, and the guests, the applicant. So it would cover the three of them. It would be, again, the town, the owner of the land, and the applicant, because we have three different parties going on here. And this greatly benefits the attendees that are going there. So that is just something to discuss and consider.
You mean like an additionally insured, the town?
Yeah, our general recommendation, we could take a look at this to see what's provided, but generally it's at no cost. The town would not be interested in just having a certificate of insurance that basically says their insurance was canceled and you got 30 days notice. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about having their policy endorsed to confer affirmative coverage. Generally, there's no cost to this. And the affirmative coverage, as the chairwoman has indicated, would name the town as an additional insured, the property owner, and the applicant. And we may be able to do it with exactly what they have. It may not require anything, but we would look also at the limits. And I think what the board would be thinking about in that regard is that, you know, we think about it in terms of conditions that are reasonable. These are conditions that clearly deal with health, safety, and welfare of the members of the community at large and attendees. We could take a look at that.
When you pull a permit in Albany, building permit, you have to list them on the insurance for that reason.
Right.
So if it pays and you're liable, then the city's covered.
Right.
Same premise.
Same concept,
Okay.
yep. But we would be more than just a mere certificate holder. It would be endorsed so that there's affirmative coverage in favor of the town, the applicant, and the property owner.
Do you understand what he's saying, Jason?
A little bit, yeah. I think that is a
So you're gonna have
separate-
coverage for yourself, but then you have to get the town of Queens as an additional insured and whoever else we,
Okay.
And I'd be happy to provide the language. It's,
yeah.
Through my insurer or
Right.
through the event as well?
it could be both. Whatever it is that you've got, we can take a look at
Okay,
and help you to get it
okay.
straightened out.
So, yes, one second.
I have a question for the lawyer.
So I would definitely recommend, because you said that you have two different forms of insurance.
Correct.
You have one for obviously your campground, and then you have another one for when you do these events. And these bands that come, they also have insurance.
I'm not sure about the bands have their own insurance.
So this large one that you have coming, the Meadowlark, do they have some kind of liability rider?
That's what I'm talking about. They're the ones that purchase, my partners purchase separate insurance, that covers.
So then we would want to see all of that, whatever insurance that you have, whoever it's from, we want to see that so that,
But there's also like, they can't really get insurance until it's approved. I don't know, maybe they can, but I guess,
I would call them and talk to them and find that out. That's on you.
okay.
Yes, I'm sorry.
So you need, go ahead.
Now, I have a question for your lawyer. I know the property is zone RA, and last time, it's not okay to charge tickets. Are they charging for the concerts?
So they did talk about
And
that.
you have to ask the applicant.
So
My understanding is that the building department took a look at this previously in terms of its interpretation. And my understanding is that in the RA zone, the building department determined that this was a temporary campground for weekends. And that was their interpretation.
So they can charge money for tickets? I should say, the people are camping, but the music is extra. Is that correct?
I think that that fell within the interpretation, as I understand it, both with respect to, let me just tell you what year it was. 2022, the application was August 8 of 2022. And I don't know that that has changed in terms of the building department's position, correct?
Correct.
Anyone on the board have anything else?
Jason, when they had the event in the past, you would go up and monitor what they were doing, right? They had visits up there?
Yes, the board put stipulations on last time that it did inspections every day.
And when you did your inspections, There was never a problem up there, right?
No, I have written documentation in the office.
I believe we all also checked with the police chief at the time and had no complaints.
There were no complaints that year,
Correct.
yes. You don't remember what time you went up, do you? Or times?
It is on my file.
Okay.
It's 2 years ago, but I'd have to look in
It was
Back
12
file.
o'clock at night.
No, he was sleeping.
I mean,
We get right, you're right.
Well, there was a Friday night inspection that was at 10 PM. There was a Saturday inspection that was 2 PM. There was a Saturday night inspection at 10. Music stopped at 10:45. Sunday inspection at 1. I mean, the other site conditions are mentioned here. There was a Sunday inspection at 8:45. Music stopped at 8:55.
Somebody went with you too. Who went with you? Remember?
Sure with you.
Hold on, Harley. Check out the road. Chairman. Me, you, and Mr. Baker
Danny Baker
to
went.
check the road.
You heard over your house?
Well, and I can't even attest to that because the first year in 2021, I can tell you I most certainly heard it. I was out of town last year, so I can't even attest to that, but I do know that there were no complaints. The only thing, I'm gonna throw this out there because I'm all about facts and factual. I believe our conditions last time were 10 o'clock music off. And on Sunday was 8 o'clock because people had to work. And if that report is saying that the music was off at 10:45 and then 8:45, it was not in compliance, just to be fair and to state it for the record.
To 11 then.
I'm pretty sure it was 11 o'clock.
I'm pulling my stuff to see what it was. Do you have the conditions from the last time? Because I did think it was at 10.
You know, I do, the only reason why I'm hesitant on this one, I'm looking at one that has 10:30, and then 9 PM on Sunday. The only issue I have with it is, this one's not actually signed. I wanna see if I can find the one that's signed by the board. Sorry, give me a minute, I can try to get through this.
I don't think I have a copy of,
I may not have ever gotten the one.
I have all the notes, but I don't have the copy of what was signed behind them with the conditions. I don't think I get a copy of that.
No, I'd have to research that. That's,
Mr. Bill has it.
Quiet hours shall exist between the hours of 11 PM Friday, August 5th, and 10:30 AM Saturday, August 6th, 11 PM Saturday, August 6th, and 10:30 AM Sunday, August 7th, and between 9 PM Sunday, August 7th, and 9 AM Monday, August 8th.
Did you pay for these bands to play a certain amount of time? Is that what you,
Yes, no, a lot of the money,
is that where that window of time comes from?
yes, it's all time slotted and usually that's not figured out for quite some time, so.
Yeah, because he said bands play for about an hour, so he was gonna have to short a band or something if we change the hours.
Start them a little bit earlier, right? Can't you start a little earlier?
Oh, good Lord, that last one.
You can start them a little earlier than normal, but sound ordinance was at 11 o'clock, which was maybe under mission.
So you have flexibility on that
Or what?
with the times and the bands?
It could be.
Okay. Okay. I gotta go back to my notes.
Just so that everybody's clear, as I understand it, the sound ordinance, it's in the section of the code for noise. The time period is, I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page, 11 PM and 7 AM.
Correct.
Bill, to be fair, like if we as a board wanted to say 10 PM or whatever for the residents, we can do that because this is a special use permit
Correct.
outside of the town. Okay. So I think we have two things to walk away right now with. We need that letter from Albany County as far as that, yeah, for the water and the
Insurance material.
and you have to give Jason the insurance stuff. You have to get that so that we can work that out. And I would say from now until the next meeting, I would definitely think whether we approve it, don't approve it, or approve it with conditions, have conditions ready if that's the route we go. If you're all comfortable with that.
Would it be possible, just, it might help everyone, I think not everyone was here when this project was reviewed in the past. Could perhaps the building department office circulate a copy of that prior resolution just so that the board has a sense of what it consisted of in the past? They would be able to then compare it to the comments that members of the public made tonight. I think that might be helpful.
I agree.
For the board.
For the conditions.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they can think about the comments from the public as it relates to what the board did the last time on this.
And just something else that I want to point out, because the last round we had, now when you say 500 people, that's 500 attendees?
Max, yes.
That does not include the people that are working on the grounds and anything else.
Right, that could be another 40.
Just for clarification on that, because we did not exceed more than 300 on the last time. So that's just something to consider and think about also for recommendations.
So the 40 people, that would actually probably be more, right? So kind of the bands as well, that are recycling.
With the bands and us, it's probably 40, 50 people, because the bands don't stay all the time.
Right, they come and go, yeah. They got other shows to get to.
I would say that with people working and people on the farm, it might be 40 or 50. And that's it. It's sold out.
Does attendees come and go, or do they have to stay once they come in?
Most of them say there's no re-entry. There is some day passes, not very many.
And I don't recall, and I don't think I've ever seen them. You don't put signs up or anything?
No.
Okay. And did you have traffic up on the top of your hill directing, or?
Yeah, there was traffic. There was 3 or 4 people directing traffic and making sure people park in their cars.
Okay.
Can Mr. Hunter clarify the statement he said about the traffic?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you mentioned traffic and, well, maybe you can clarify what he meant by traffic.
I only asked that because that came up last time also. You gotta remember, I live there too.
Oh, yeah.
There's traffic. My driveway's a road. People go down my driveway instead. And I believe that came up at the last one, that you were gonna have people, I wanna say at the end of Bucks Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there were people there because it's very unclear where they're going if you're not familiar with it.
There's no signs?
No, and it's just Bucks Ranch Road, and literally when you go up the hill.
I know Bucks Ranch, but I'm saying there's no sign saying that, Metal Arc Festival that way.
Right, no.
On 32 or on.
No, there were no signs.
It's not.
And I'm not recommending that because once you start signs, that's a whole nother can of worms.
My thought is it's not necessarily advertisement, it's just direction, right?
Right, even arrows or something.
Pretty much most people have smartphones and GPS these days, so there's stakes right up there.
Sure, there's decent
Mr. Hunter, what was your comment was that as far as you didn't have a problem with it except for the traffic and the noise.
And
what?
the noise. And he just said day passes, and day passes violates the RA zoning.
So
What was your experience with the traffic?
Yeah.
Oh,
Because you don't know. No.
people get lost. I overlook the pond. You guys know where that is.
Yep.
And they get lost. And you get debris on the side of the roads because they throw stuff out on the way coming and going. And some of them walk around.
That was at the last event that happened?
2022 was really bad. Oh, yeah.
That's before he got a permit. He didn't start getting permits till 2024.
But, yeah, but I'm just saying, 22 was really bad. The other ones, a lot more traffic. The other thing that you find on our road is the bicyclists, especially from Delmar, because what they do is they use that hill for training.
You just brought up a really good point. Do we know when that Bethlehem race is? Because those roads are closed. I don't know when that race is, but that's something to look into because they close those roads and those bikers. That's just something to look into.
I think anytime you're gonna funnel that many people and they're out-of-towners that are coming to your event, it's gonna have a little bit of confusion on how to get there. But you probably could make it a little easier for them with some signage. I'm not opposed to that.
Even arrows, something simple. Arrows, simple.
Just most people today have a smartphone in their pocket or right in front of their car, so it's usually.
Yeah, but when you're coming from the city and you're going on our type of roads, it's a whole different environment. And one driveway looks like a road. So just something to think about. Now, going back to Mr. Hunter's point as far as, let's just say, so you had mentioned 300 people on the first event. That 300 people is max, including day pass people, campers, period.
Yeah. And like I said, there's very, very few that I don't even know if they're gonna do it. So.
Okay. I mean, I know I would like clarification whether you are doing day passes and overnight.
Okay.
Just if you can clear that up. So you have a list of homework to do for our next meeting, so we can, if this does go, because I respect the fact that you have to get back to the people, you have to make contracts. I think we all respect that.
Yeah, the May one's fine. That one's the one that's kind of already starting to be set, like they're moving forward, but the other ones haven't moved.
I wouldn't mind seeing if you can get copies of the information from the last Meadowlark events, what they may have had as far as on-site healthcare, or the security, whatever they had, any operational plans.
Okay.
Might be there just to look at as well, to see how they handle things in the past.
I think they had the engineer site plan.
Bill, I know that sounds crazy. Is there any way to get any kind of report, like if there were any incidents or anything from down in Ulster County from Stone Ridge?
Yeah.
How do we do that?
I mean, it'd be a freedom of information request that the applicant can make of the local government, and you can make it, I mean, it'll take you a little while with the state troopers, but you can ask the sheriff's department if there's local PD, you may be able to obtain that as well. You can also obtain the municipal file.
My only question is, if they were there for 3 years, why no longer?
The camping was a thing. They couldn't really camp. The music had to be ended at 8, and the camping thing was, those were two of the big things. And they didn't have a stage, so stage rental was around $4,000, where I have a set stage. So my property is just much bigger. Most of the property there was an apple farm, so they couldn't really have people there, or parking was an issue. So there was quite a few things that were an issue that made our farm a better location.
So it was completely Meadowlark's decision.
Yes. Okay. They want to be, the Stone Ridge wants them back, but Meadowlark it just thinks this is a better fit for the future going forward.
I mean, you brought up a good point there. Curfew, their noise was 8 o'clock. I mean, I think that's early, but in reference to what, I'm going to say your first name, Espen, but I'm going to say Espen. I can't say your last name. Most campgrounds, I believe, are 10 o'clock. I do believe that. Most state campgrounds and stuff like that, just to be fair. So, all right. You what?
He's no state though.
I said most, to be fair.
Keep the public hearing open or closed?
Yes, I was going to recommend that we keep the public hearing open. So, Jason, your cards, how many cards did you send out? Because I will say the other thing, our last meeting, there were way more people.
I was number 32.
At the last meeting.
No, my card.
No, oh, okay, so
47.
47, okay.
Quite a
So-
few neighbors come and as you can see, there's not a lot of, there's only 2 people there,
And that was
I
my
probably
point.
have, a dozen different neighbors that show up, so,
Has anyone come and spoken to you since the cards went out?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, people call me and tell me, ask me what's going on, and like Carol Palmer and some of the people that, the Youngs and people that are, actually, for what I do, which is the vast majority of them.
Okay.
Jason, we gave you a slightly wider zone than normal, right?
No, this was
We
smaller,
just went with the normal one this time?
yes.
No, we didn't go normal.
It was smaller than our previous 1 mile. You
Right,
guys went
normally
3/4.
he just does, so in a normal typical public hearing, you'll send out just the properties that are adjoining or just that road, but we did open this up a little bit more. Last year, I did think we did
1 mile.
1 mile,
Last time they got approved, it was 1 mile.
That was 3/4.
1 3/4.
1 3/4, so we went up.
No, not 1 3/4. It was
Oh,
3/4.
3/4, so we went down, okay, all right.
But it basically was the same, because it touched everybody's property as the original file.
Okay. So you're good to go, knowing what to come back with for the next meeting?
Yep.
Okay, and anyone else have any more questions?
My neighbor.
No, I think we're all good. That brings us to the end of our meeting. Anyone here have any more questions? You what?
Did you make,
Do we need to make a motion to keep it open? We'll just keep it open, right?
keep it open?
Yeah, we're just gonna keep it open until the next time. So our next meeting, though, we are at March 26th today, and our next meeting is gonna be April 14th. We scheduled to do our training April 23rd. Is anyone else planning on attending that workshop at the Albany? Al printed out a fancy flyer over there, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Guys got a
The only
card.
reason I'm asking is because if a majority are going to that, I don't wanna sit here by myself. I like Bill, but, so
I can't go to that, but
you can't go to that. So, okay, so you'll be with me then.
but if there's online training or something else, I can do that, although we can just hang out
So
with Bill.
who thinks they may plan on going to this with Al?
I was
You?
gonna look into it.
You're gonna look into it, you're gonna look into it. You will. You're
Finance
gonna
night.
go here, I would go here.
Can't miss that.
That's May 1st, yeah. So we tentatively have training scheduled for April 23rd here.
So we had April 14th.
You guys are good to go.
No.
If you want,
Thank
yeah.
you so much to all of you.
Meeting on a Monday?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, we do Monday and then a Wednesday.
You're welcome to stay, but
No, we said April 23rd and then May 18th were the dates that the tentative dates we came up with. I don't care either way, I just wanna make sure that it's
May
worth
19th?
it.
May
May 19th, I have
No, it
the,
can't be. There's a 19th, there's a Sunday.
23rd was the one everyone wanted.
hold on, April 23rd and then so May 12th, May 12th. May 12th, April 23rd would be the first one and May 12th would be the next one. Those are the ones we tentatively put in place. Mr. Nolan, do you know what you may do?
I can do either one, whatever's easier for
Okay.
everybody. Albert, you're gonna go to the,
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. So then I'll just keep it open with Bill, and we'll do it here, cause there's 3 or 4 of us that are gonna come here, so. That works.
going to Voorhees.
You're done in one shot.
What's that?
Yeah, it's 6 hours.
They even
4
got-
hours.
They even got refreshments for you.
Oh my
They
gosh.
even got refreshments for you.
Okay, can I make a motion to
I need
end
that.
this meeting?
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now you can keep chitter chattering.